is that rendering is the process of turning your code into a visible user interface. It can happen on the server, the client, or in a hybrid setup to where you render some stuff on the server and some stuff on the client, as you see more and more in Next.js, where you can decide where your code runs using one consistent language across both server and client side. The request response lifecycle is a big part of this, where it starts when the user takes a certain action, and then that triggers a request to the server processes it, returns a response, and the client renders the UI, and then repeating this cycle as needed and as the client interacts. It's also important to define the network boundary between client and server to split logic intentionally and securely. So really kind of, having to think about, okay, do I want to render this on the server? Do I want to render it on the client? What do I want to ship to the client? And then Next.js ultimately recommends you to adopt a server-first mindset to where you render on the server when possible, and then add client interactivity as needed. So this kind of comes back to, practically speaking, in Next.js, you wouldn't want to make everything a use client component. You would just want to make client components for that specific stuff that needs to be interactive. So rather than making an entire page a client page, you would just create a client component that's maybe a button or an input, and then kind of slot that into the rest of your page that's rendered still on the server, and you kind of can get the best of both worlds with these hybrid applications.